Good evening, live from the news center of the Sultanate of Oman Television. Here we present to you at 7 o'clock news bulletin. But first, the headlines. Within the framework of the royal attention to upgrade capabilities of Royal Army of Oman, the armored personnel carrier of the parts type is launched. Sultanate's embassies in brotherly and friendly countries continue the celebrations of the 47th Glorious National Day. The Omani-Swiss Friendship Society marks the centenary of its establishment. And Lebanon's Prime Minister Saad Hariri announces putting his resignation on hold. Good evening once again, and thank you for joining us. Those were the headlines, and now the details. Within the framework of the royal attention to upgrade capabilities of Royal Army of Oman, the armored personnel carrier of the parts type has been launched. This type of carrier was selected among a group of armored carriers after all were subjected to comprehensive technical and operational studies to accommodate with the Sultanate's terrain and weather in accordance with the tasks and missions to be carried out by this carrier at the Royal Army of Oman. The launch was held under the auspices of Major General Matar bin Salim al-Blushi, Commander of the Army. The Sultanate's embassies in brotherly and friendly countries continue celebrations of the 47th Glorious National Day, where Their Excellencies the Sultanate's ambassadors held reception ceremonies on this glorious occasion. His Excellency the Sultanate's ambassador to Algeria hosted a reception ceremony to mark the 47th Glorious National Day. It was attended by a number of senior officials and personalities, in addition representatives of the government in Algeria and members of the diplomatic corps. Rejoicing the 47th Glorious National Day, the Sultanate's embassies in Morocco hosted a reception ceremony where His Excellency Abdullah bin Ubaid al-Hinai, Sultanate's ambassador to Morocco, received the guests to celebrate this glorious day. It was attended by a number of ministers, civil officials, media men and other personalities in Morocco. The ceremony included various activities to stress on deep-rooted relations between the two countries. A reception ceremony was held in the Sultanate's embassy in Tunisia to celebrate the glorious National Day. It included various activities, presentations, documentaries that highlight this glorious occasion, the Sultanate's culture, its history and role in spreading peace, in addition of stressing on the good relations of the Sultanate and Tunisia. The Sultanate's embassy in United Kingdom held a reception ceremony to celebrate the 47th Glorious National Day. During the ceremony, the attendees exchanged greetings on this delightful occasion and expressed their feelings of further progress and prosperity to the Omani people. They also hailed the accomplishments carried out in each part of this dear country in various fields. A wide number of government officials from France, as well as members of the French community, media people, businessmen and journalists gathered in a reception ceremony held by the Sultanate's embassy in Paris to celebrate its 47th Glorious National Day. It came to stress on the good relations of the Sultanate and France, as well as focusing on the achievements of the Sultanate on various fields. The Sultanate's embassy in Italy also hosted a reception ceremony on the occasion of the 47th Glorious National Day, which was attended by a number of officials, diplomats, businessmen and heads of the Arab and foreign diplomatic missions. The ceremony came to stress on the deep-rooted relations between both countries as the attendees exchanged greetings on this delightful occasion and expressed their feelings of further progress and prosperity to the Omani people. The Omani-Swiss Friendship Society held a ceremony in the governorate of Muscat to mark the 100th anniversary of its establishment. The society seeks to enhance bilateral relations between the Sultanate and Switzerland in the economic, touristic, cultural and educational fields, in addition to exchanging experiences in the fields of technology and knowledge. This society plays a great role in improving the joint activities in a number of vital sectors, including commerce, economy, information technology, telecommunications, sciences, health, culture, sports and education. It is worth mentioning that the government of Oman and Switzerland render support to various activities of the society, as the latest statistics showed that there is a noticeable growth in a number of promising investment sectors like intra-trade and tourism. The ceremony was presided over by His Highness Sayyid Tariq bin Shabib Al Said. You're watching the Sultanate of Oman television, and still to come in our news bulletin. The Omani Innovation Exhibition is inaugurated at the Oman Conventions and Exhibition Center. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. Lebanon's Prime Minister Saad Hariri announced today he was putting his resignation on hold to give way for more consultations nearly 3 weeks after he unexpectedly announced that he was stepping down. In a surprise conciliatory comments from the presidential palace today, Hariri said he was putting Lebanon's interests first and said he hoped it could be an opening for a national dialogue based on the Taif agreement signed in the aftermath of the Lebanese civil war. He said he presented his resignation to Lebanese President Michel Aoun at the presidential palace, but then responded to Aoun's request to take more time for consultations, hoping it will constitute a serious introduction for responsible national dialogue. He reiterated the need for Lebanon to remain neutral on regional disputes and conflicts and their repercussions on Lebanon's relations with Arab brothers. Iranian President Hassan Rouhani departed Tehran today for Sochi in Russia, where he will participate in the tripartite summit of the Iranian, Turkish and Russian Federation heads of state. During the one-day visit, Rouhani will hold discussions with Russian President Vladimir Putin and Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan over the political future of Syria, the ongoing ceasefire and other regional issues. Before leaving, Rouhani said that the summit comes at a time when Iraq and Syria have achieved an almost ultimate victory against the Daesh group in both countries. All that remains of the Daesh-held areas that once stretched to the edges of Baghdad are patches of territory along the Euphrates in the desert of Syria and Iraq. A suicide bomber detonated his pickup truck loaded with explosive, killing 36 people yesterday evening at a marketplace in an Iraqi town contested by both the central government in Baghdad and the Kurdish regional authorities. The powerful explosion in Tuz Hormato also wounded at least 85 people. At least 6 members of the Iraq security forces were among the dead. Footage filmed today showed destructions around the marketplace, the damaged shops and a crater left in the street by the blast. The special representative of the United Nations Secretary General for Iraq, John Kubi, strongly condemned the attack. The town, claimed by both Iraq's central government and the country's Kurdish region, is about 210 kilometers north of Baghdad and historically an ethnically diverse area that is home to Kurds, Arab and Turkmens. The chief prosecutor of the United Nations Yugoslav War Crimes Tribunal said that the conviction of former Bosnian Serb military commander General Latko Mladic is not a verdict against all Serb people, and his guilt belonged to him and no one else. Serb nationalities often portray the tribunal as anti-Serb because most of the people it has convicted were Serb. Bramitorc was speaking to reporters after judges today convicted Mladic of 10 counts of genocide, crimes against humanity and war crimes, and sentenced for the former general to life imprisonment. Mladic was acquitted on one count of genocide linked to ethnic purges in Bosnian towns and villages. Bramitorc said he would study the judgment before deciding whether to appeal on the one count. Mladic was found not guilty. Hundreds of Zimbabweans gathered outside the military terminal of Harare Airport this afternoon to wait for the return from abroad of Emmerson Mnangagwa, Robert Mugabe's former vice president, whose sacking sparked the political downfall of Africa's oldest ruler. Mnangagwa is expected to replace Mugabe as president after the 93-year-old resigned yesterday. Mnangagwa was pushed aside earlier this month as unpopular First Lady Grace Mugabe positioned herself to replace him and succeed her husband. Mnangagwa then fled the country, claiming threats against his life. That led the military to step in a week ago, opening the door for the ruling party and the people to publicly turn against the president. A U.S. aircraft carrying 11 crew and passengers crashed into the Pacific Ocean today while on the way to the aircraft carrier USS Ronald Reagan. The Japan-based 7th Fleet said that the search and the rescue operation was launched from the carrier. It said the ship was operating in the Philippine Sea, which is east of the Philippines, when the crash occurred at 2:45 p.m. Japan time. The 7th Fleet has had 2 fatal accidents in Asian waters this year, leaving 17 sailors dead and prompting the removal of 8 top Navy officers from their posts, including the 7th Fleet commander. A Navy report recommended numerous changes to address the problems, ranging from improved training to increasing sleep and stress management for sailors. And now for more local news. Al Rafd Fund inaugurated 2 mobile branches facilitated with updated mechanisms and electronic systems in order to reach remote villages in the Sultanate. The project, which financed by Occidental Oman, seeks to provide technical and administrative supports in the branches at the governorate. The project focused on various sectors such as industrial and touristic sectors. The fund signed also a cooperation agreement formed to support entrepreneurs in various stages of establishing their own project at a time that the value of the finance projects reached 73 million Omani Rials. An amount of 200,000 Omani Rials is specified for the financial program of industrial projects. Enhancing partnership in building an attractive investment environment for ideas and investment and ways to support youth projects in the fields of sciences and technology was topics discussed at the dialogue sessions of Stars of Sciences program in its 9th session. The event was hosted by the Sultanate. The program was organized by Qatar Foundation for Education, Sciences and Community Development and in partnership with Oman Technology Fund. Around 100 youths from inside and outside the Sultanate took part in the dialogue session. The Sultanate continues its efforts to enhance the electricity and water sector in the Sultanate. The privatization of the sector is considered as one of successful examples of partnership between the public and private sectors in its endeavor to achieve sustainable development, diversify the national income, and enhance the private sector's investment in the country. INGI International Group of Companies is one of the bodies that invested in tech sectors of electricity and water in the Sultanate. It is working to establish and operate electricity generation and desalination plants in Sohar, Rusail, Al-Kamil and Al-Wafi and Barkia at the cost of around $3 billion. The group has been investing in the Sultanate since the 90s. It succeeded in the employment of national manpower and raising the immunization rate in the electricity and water sectors. It has projects in the field of social responsibility. It's also preparing to launch a new initiative to qualify and train small and medium establishments in the field of energy. The Sultanate joins world countries in marking the World Diabetes Day, which falls on the 14th of November each year. This time, the celebration was allocated for women to shed light on the importance of taking care of women besides men and giving them integrated health care, and to highlight the role played by the Minister of Health in the mechanisms of dealing with diabetes patients. Statistics indicated that the number of affected individuals in the world in 2017 reached more than 425 million. The prevalence of this disease in the Sultanate during 2014 reached 14.6%. With the aim of strengthening partnership between the private sector and the local community, the project of providing battery-powered wheelchairs for the people with special needs was launched at the premises of the Omani Society for the Disabled. This initiative was organized by the Oman Society for Disabled in cooperation with Oman Liquefied Natural Gas Company for the 9th consecutive year. The Capital Market Authority approved the sukuk at the value of 200 billion Omani Riyals to fund projects of Golden Group Holding Company. It came to stress the importance of utilizing the monetary liquidity in the performance of national economy in a way that facilitates investments in projects that enrich the local economy. The sukuk market in the Sultanate is one of the economic activities that was well received by the businessmen and business firms investing in the Sultanate through financing long-term projects. About 200 Omani companies joined the competition to be the best startup companies in the Middle East and North Africa. These companies showcased their projects in Omani Innovation Exhibition, which was inaugurated at the Oman Conventions and Exhibition Center. The 5-day exhibition witnessed the inauguration of Your Guide application, which is considered as a platform that gathered Omani institutions in the Sultanate and facilitated reaching them by entrepreneurs. The exhibition accompanied by events and lectures that aim to interact among the institutions, in addition to discuss challenges that face them. And now for the general weather forecast around the Sultanate. Clear skies will prevail over the Sultanate with chances of clouds over the northern parts and the coastal areas of the Arabian Sea. Winds will be easterly to southeasterly light to moderate. Seas will be slight with a maximum wave height of 1.25 meters. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. Within the framework of the royal attention to upgrade capabilities of Royal Army of Oman, the armored personnel carrier of the parts type is launched. The Sultanate's embassies in brotherly and friendly countries continue the celebrations of the 47th Glorious National Day. The Omani-Swiss Friendship Society marks the centenary of its establishment. And Lebanon's Prime Minister Saad Hariri announced putting his resignation on hold. And with that, we do conclude this news bulletin, and we do apologize for not displaying the weather forecast. Thank you for joining us, and good night.